Welcome back to another episode with a boy in his Zagato. And today, I think we're tearing some shit up. That was probably about the only way that I could come up with saying what I'm thinking about doing to this thing right now. So let me show you what I've done. I've also taken most everything out. I've got the carpets out, got the seats out, obviously, and all the other equipment that was in here. So, and that's all sitting here. So you got the seats, the little panels that were in there, and here's the electronics. So this is your controller. This is a reversing contactor. So what happens is you flip a switch on the dash and it changes the contactor. So, you know, instead of going forward, you're going in reverse. That's a shunt, and that's the main contactor. A bunch of battery cables there. And I thought this was really funny, so let me show you this. This is I told you about, we had a bunch of the original stuff in there. Well, here's the original lug wrench. You can see it's almost the size of my hand. Look at that. It like goes to my wrist. It's so itty bitty and tiny. It's pretty funny. But yep, that's the original one. So, what to do now? Well, my plan is to take all of that equipment out there and set up like a board or what have you, and to be able to test everything, make sure it works. But then I started thinking about how there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts, and the body would come off. Because one, I want to paint this thing. I want it to be black because I don't know, the silver just really stands out. So I want that I'm going to paint that black. And being able just to get to everything would be kind of easier if the body wasn't on it. So I'm really considering pulling the body off of it. From here, it would be really simple. There's a bolt on the steering column that I would just have to undo and take out those 6 bolts. And that's it. I mean, the rest of the wiring, this is all the 12-volt wiring that's sitting there. And that's it. I don't think I have to look at the parking brake a little bit closer, but other than that, the whole thing should just lift off. If I do that, I'm going to have to take off the doors. Just take out these 4 screws here. There's a bolt on the inside of the door jamb here, and then there's one inside here. So for each of the 2 hinges. So if I'm going to pull the body, I'm going to pull the doors first and then do that. The whole body itself, it's not going to weigh much. I mean, the doors probably add quite a bit of weight to it. So, I mean, definitely, probably 100 pounds maybe is what this thing probably weighs. So, I don't know. I'm going to kick it around for a minute. Okay, it's a few days later, and I've gotten one door off already, and working on the second one right now. It hasn't taken me a few days to get the doors off, but I'll show you what I did. Okay, so it's hard to see in here, but I can kind of point you in the right direction. So the hinge points are right there. You can kind of see a little bit of daylight, and then there's another one down here. So what I had to do is I sprayed it with some WD-40 gel lube, and then let it sit, and then I did that a couple times for several days, and man, I hope that made the world of difference, that it wasn't just that easy to take out these nuts and all that without doing that, because then I will have wasted a bunch of days. But yeah, they're coming out really nice and easy. The doors are pretty light too, so to get the door off, you have to take the little door check thing off. So you got to take this little panel off and put a 7mm socket behind there to get to the nuts that are on the back of that. And then so that loosens up, and then there's the 2 up here and the 2 down here. And I've got my little Harbor Freight lift table thing just underneath of the door, just to support it for when I get these hinges out. and it works pretty good so far. Well, doors are off, and not too bad either. I mean, they're sitting there right now. It's kind of neat. You can see some of the original cream color underneath of the hinges here. So, like I said before, the car was painted this white is actually house paint. The car originally, from what I can tell, is this cream color, which is a stock color for the Zele. And yeah, so it's a little bit different than what the actual, or what the car is painted as. And you can tell that they didn't mask anything off. You know, there's paint up on the rubbers too. But the doors themselves, you know, it's one-handed. Probably weigh 20-25 pounds. All right, there you go. 20-25 pounds with the glass in it still. And so very, very light doors. And but yeah, so that's part of the car part. And there's actually a pretty good view of the original gel coat. I'm not sure what to do about it. If I should go to paint it back to the original, or do it a white, because I mean I kind of like it in white. The problem with doing it in the original is that there is some damage and stuff, so something's gonna have to get painted regardless. Anyway, on to the next bit to come off, the bumpers. Okay, just to show you also, I forgot to mention this. The hardware that it was to hold the hinges onto the door, they're 8mm nuts. Really, really tiny. Look how small those things are. I mean, you know, that's my finger there. I mean, it's really tiny hardware for a tiny door. I guess if it only weighs, you know, 25 pounds, it's not much to hold up anyway. All right, back to the bumpers. Well, the back bumper's off. You can see what a mess that was. And the bumper probably weighs as much as the door. It's like it's a big solid chunk of rubber with little end caps on. And there's 4 bolts holding it in, and so the 4 holes on the back of the car. I haven't looked to see if there's a part number on them or anything yet, but I doubt there is. It looks like it's just a piece of rubber that they bolted on. But anyway, you can kind of see just the weight of the bumper was pulling the body out a little bit, and the body's really thin. So, but I'll clean this up a little bit, and there should be some good body color underneath there anyway. Having problems with the front bumper. So just like the back bumper, there's 4 bolts. There's 2 in the middle here and then 2 on the ends. The problem is the ones on the ends here are really close to the wheel well, and getting my socket back in there has been very difficult. So I need to get my smaller socket wrench and with a 13mm socket on it, and that should be able to fit down in front there. The regular size one, even with a shorty socket on it, it doesn't fit. So we'll try that, and then hopefully this little guy will come off, and then we can see really what damage is behind there, which is that's not where the screw is. The screw's right over here on this side, so I don't know, maybe it got bumped at some point. Well, I put out a little call for help to actually move the body. It's all free now. I thought there was 6 bolts holding the body on, but there was actually 7 body bolts. So there was 2 in the back, 2 here, 2 there, and then there's 1 in front of the pedals. So all those were out. Body still was not loose though, because it did have seat tracks. So took the seat tracks out, and now the whole body's loose. Also took out the steering wheel, and that came out not too difficultly. It's all sitting there now. And so the last thing I'm probably going to need to do is remove the emergency brake lever. and also disconnect the DC to DC converter that's up here, right there. Just to disconnect that, and then the body's completely free and can be lifted off. So I put out the call to a couple people and say, hey, you know, got 5 minutes. It's ready to go. It just needs 5 minutes of moving. So, but yeah, cool. It's really not that heavy at all. It might weigh 150 pounds, and that's probably because it still has all that stuff in it. But it and the front bumper, but it's pretty light. So cool. Well, we'll see if anybody answers. If not, I'll have to get creative. So fun times. Well, it's halfway off. No, not shady at all. No, let me show you. Yeah, not too. It's really, really shady. So I have these are shelving units that I've not put together yet. Plastic ones from like Home Depot and stuff. And then I put a 2x4 and then like a stripped down 2x4 on top of it. And then I used my little Harbor Freight table to lift the body up. And yeah, okay. So it's up high enough that the gear or the brake pedal will clear the body. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this down, which the whole thing will drop like an inch, hopefully, only. And then I'm going to move the table around to the back side and lift it up, and then put some more 2x4s on the back, and so that the body will be completely supported by these shelving units. And then I should be able to roll the chassis out underneath. Here's for hoping anyway. Well, it's up there. It's not quite high enough though. So I got to go up probably another 3 inches. But this view right here really makes me want like a lifted smart car. I've seen some videos of them, and if it's anywhere near as cool as that, it'd be awesome. If I could find another body, Zele body, I'd do it to a Zele. But there you go. You got there's the brake pedal, and it's still probably 1.5 inches or so from clearing all this mess. So I've got a plan is to roll the body back this way, and so we'll I gotta get it up a little bit higher. So a minor setback. I don't know why I didn't think about this before. So in the grand scheme of, here, let me back up a little bit. Grand scheme of the basement here, the Zele normally was sitting back here a little bit further, but I pushed it forward so I could lift the body up, pull the chassis out from the bottom. The problem that I've just realized is that I need to actually do this operation back here as far as I can and pull the chassis forward. The reason is because there's nothing sticking up back here that won't allow the chassis to go forward. However, you know, that brake pedal that I was just like, oh, I got to clear that for the body. Well, it's going to hit these, my 2x4s that I have going across the middle. So what I have set up so far, completely not going to work. So what I've got to do is I've got to lower the body back down, move everything back here, redo it, you know, get the body back up, and then pull the chassis forward to where it's at now. So the body's got to be back here. Fun. Okay, so there we are. That's the only thing that we have to clear. So let's get down here on the ground, grab a tire and see. All right, it's about, what's that, about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Let's roll it back a little bit. Nope, it's gotta go up. Gotta put it up a little bit higher. So we'll try it one more time. And this piece of 2x4 was all bowed, so I was able to slip this one right up in there to help get it up a little bit higher. So get it up that much higher again, and we should be good Go. Okay, take two. As long as it clears, yep. Should be good. Those are the brake cables dragging on the body. It's so awesome. You can move this whole car. I'm doing it one-handed. There we go. And that, my friends, is a 1975 Zagato Zele chassis in all of its glory. Whew. Fun. So we've got the chassis free. There's going to be a couple things happening here now. One is to clean it. It's messy. It's solid as a rock from what I'm seeing. It should for only having 1,100 kilometers on the thing. But it's really dirty and nasty. So it's going to get a whole cleaning. We're going to take care of the battery box. The chrome battery box, I don't like the chrome. So we're going to paint it black so that it just kind of blends into the undercarriage. And that's what they were factory anyway, was black. They weren't diamond plate, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. And then also we found out that there was a couple of, through the Zele group that I started on Facebook, figured out that there was actually some recalls done on this machine. So if you look up the Consumer Reports most dangerous cars or something like that, the Zele is actually one of those. And the reason is because before they could even test it, the front suspension collapsed. And so I think after that is when Elcar decided, oh yeah, we should probably do some reinforcements on these things because there's a lot of weight on Fiat 500 parts. So they did a front suspension brace underneath, and they also did something in the back, but I wasn't really clear on what that was. So through the Zagato Zele group, the couple of us that are on there, we checked our cars, and only one of us had that brace. It wasn't me. It was Ryan from Hack Lab. So he pulled his car out of the woods, a total disaster. His is the only one of the 5 that had the brace on the front. Kind of funny. So I need to get with him and get some dimensions of it and try to make it look like it's factory. When I go to put it in, I'll show you what that looks like. But the reason that now I just put the steering wheel back on here is for no other reason than to show you something else that I found in my research of this car. Popular Mechanics, like a lot of other magazines at the time, did reviews of the Zagato Zele and or Elcar, and but Popular Mechanics actually got one of these to give away, the chassis. And so they were holding a contest on, could you design, what kind of body would you design to go on this car? And if you are the winner, then you get this chassis. It didn't have any batteries. I think it had the rest of the electrical, the electronic stuff in the motor, but it didn't have any batteries, didn't have a body, and they would ship it to you. So it's kind of funny that this is what they would have sent somebody. Whether somebody actually won it or not, don't know. I kind of doubt it, but you'd think that it would have shown up somewhere if it did. But it's pretty cool though. That's what they were going to send you. But fun times. All right, well, on to the next one. The body's sitting here on its little pieces of 2x4s, and everything is nice and solid. So gonna work on cleaning up the chassis, and then we'll do some body work and get the body back into shape. So fun times. Until next time, like it, subscribe it, whatever you feel like. I don't care. And next time, this beard thing will be gone. Very failed experiment on what it's like to actually grow a full beard instead of just the goatee thing, and yeah, it's rough. So, all right, check you.